So I wanted to make a raised garden bed, and I made one of these about a year ago. It's a really simple project. It's an easy project, and you can do it in just a couple of hours. It takes about this one took 9 2x4x8s, and they were perfect length because you can just cut a board right in half, and you got your 4-foot width, and then obviously you've got your 8-foot length boards as well. So I've got my daughter Addie here with me. She's going to be helping with the garden this year. And coming up in the video, I'll show you how I made this. And as always, check out my website at woodlogger.com, where I'll have more information about this project and other projects I have going on in my shop. So to get started with my raised garden bed, I'm going to take 3 of my 2x4x8s and cut them exactly in half. I'll measure out 48 inches, chop all three of these in half, and that'll give me 6 end pieces. So, remember, we're making a box basically, and on each end we'll have 3 boards that'll be stacked on top of one another. And then to sort of hold the pieces together, I'll have a total of 6 posts. I could probably get away with 4, but I'm going to use 6 just to keep any warping in the middle. I'm going to want to cut that at a length of about 11 1/4 inches, because my boards, even though, and if you're new to woodworking, you may not know this, but a 2x4 is not actually 2x4. So a 2x4 is actually 1 3/4 by 3 3/4. And I don't fully understand why that is. There's the nominal dimensions versus the actual dimensions. So you'll want to pay attention to that when you're measuring things out. So in this case, when I stack 3 of these on top of one another, it'll be a length of about 11 1/4 inches. So that's why I'll cut my 4x4s in lengths of 11 1/4 inches, and I'm going to want 6 of those. So I'm going to work on that next. I'm going to use a miter saw to cut mine. You could use a circular saw, just a hand saw, really whatever you want. This is going in your garden, so this isn't necessarily some heirloom project. Okay, so I've got all my boards cut. I've got my 4x4s as well as my 2x4s all ready to go. And I've started attaching the end pieces to my 4x4, which will help anchor all that down. So I'm going to stack 3 of these up on my 4x4s on the ends, and I'm attaching it with 2 2.5-inch screws on each end. I'm going to repeat the same process over and over all the way around until I have all my boards attached. Okay, so I've got all my boards attached for my raised planter bed, and it's looking pretty good. The next step I'm going to do, and this is kind of an optional step, is I'm going to attach a weed barrier. I'm going to put it across the top, but when I flip it over, it'll be on the bottom. It's kind of an optional step. If you don't need it, if you've got great soil, I think really all you need to do is make sure you've got any grass pulled up, and turn the soil a couple times, and it'll just kind of mesh together. In my case, I've got rotten soil, and I had one of these beds once before. I've got another one in my backyard, and this worked great. So anyways, all you got to do is cut this out with some scissors to the length that you need, and then just use the staple gun to attach it. You can use brad nails, whatever it takes. Again, this doesn't have to be fancy, and I'm going to work on that next. Alright, so I've got my box all done. I've got my weed barrier attached underneath, and I think it's going to turn out great. So all I need to do now is fill it up with dirt and grow some vegetables. So check out my website at woodlogger.com, where I'll put more pictures and detailed information about this project and other projects I have going on in my shop.